Slav Macedonian language, or Dardanian language, or South Serbian language, we are prepared not only to defend it, but to promote it in this country.
I'm more concerned about certain circles in the Greek scene who are continuing with this type of propaganda. We regard it as chauvinistic, and it smacks of the kind of thing that was done to us and is still being done to the Macedonians in Greece.
The Macedonian question, an issue that's been brewing in the Balkans for years. It now has hit Australia. This is Vox Populi, the voice of the people, and I'm Vladimir. Welcome to our first program in 1988. In August 1986, hundreds of people who call themselves Macedonians gathered in Canberra to protest against what they say is a constant interference by the Greek government in Australia's multicultural affairs, especially on the so-called Macedonian question.
И ние денеска мора да го прославиме со оваа прва историска демонстрација против грците и против грчката политика која водат спрема македонците. Таа е антимакедонска и ние мораме да бидеме антигрци.
Срби, грци, бугари не идат Македонија да постојат. И затоа дојде времето и Македонија да се разбуди. Доста е. Доста ни е пет векови време по Турчино. И уште и денеска да бидеме под вија три непријателски земји. Македонците се го барат правото, ко цел свет што се озеде правото.
Ние не сме против грчкиот народ. Ние не сме против бугарскиот народ. Ние сме против политиката нивна, што 82 години не држат под робство и нашите македонци тамо не знаат да зборува македонски. Ги погрчија. Ако зборуват македонци или ако пеете, го затворат и го тепат.
Look, mate, my people are oppressed. We've had forced assimilation within Greece. And we can't accept that, mate. We're losing our culture, we're losing our language, and we're losing our whole heritage, mate.
Anti-Macedonian policy from us. Remember Greeks, we will be here next year again. Freedom! 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 Freedom!
According to this group, Macedonians come from three countries: Yugoslavia, where they live in a constituent Macedonian republic, and Bulgaria and Greece, where they are oppressed minorities without any national or ethnic recognition. But even in Yugoslavia, especially in the Republic of Serbia, there is an unofficial school of thought by which the Macedonians are just southern Serbs. In Australia, however, things should be different because of the government's multicultural policy.
History is not without its controversy, as indeed we're reminded today when scientific conferences occur within an environment in which there is clearly broad interest. I welcome an opportunity to speak to meetings and conferences to represent the government's commitment to the building of understanding and communication in our very diverse society. This fostering of mutual respect and understanding amongst different groups is both the foundation stone and the spirit of multiculturalism.
Brian Howe, Australia's Minister for Social Security, was speaking recently at the first International Congress on Macedonian Studies, an event that marked the opening of an Australian Institute on such studies at Melbourne's La Trobe University. But it is this institute, says the group outside, that will become the main instrument for anti-Macedonian propaganda in Australia. It is partly sponsored by the Greek government.
Μακεδόν και Μακεδονία είναι λέξεις ελληνικές. Η γλώσσα των Μακεδόνων είναι η γλώσσα η ελληνική.
Το σημερινό πρόβλημα έχει αφετηρία το 1921, όταν στη Μόσχα πάλι η Κομιντέρν με όλα τα βαλκανικά κομμουνιστικά κόμματα, με εισήγηση πάλι του Βουλγάρου, επιδίωξαν να γίνει η αυτονόμηση της Μακεδονίας και Θράκης για να γίνουν σοσιαλιστικές δημοκρατίες, να πάνε στο κομμουνιστικό μπλοκ. Μέχρι το 1944, ο Τίτο Πανίσχυρος στο στρατόπεδο του κομμουνισμού άρπαξε την ευκαιρία και μετενόμασε την Νότιο Σερβία, τη μετενόμασε η Μακεδονία. Και από το 1944 άρχισε να κτίζεται το νέο μακεδονικό έθνος. Δηλαδή έπρεπε να έχει εξουσία, έπρεπε να έχει γλώσσα, έπρεπε να έχει εκκλησία και να έχει ιστορία. Την εξουσία την έκαναν το 1944, την κυβέρνηση με το 1944 ονόμασαν ένα ιδίωμα τοπικό, προφορικό, που δεν είχε κανένα χαρακτηριστικό γλώσσας. Ούτε σύνταξη, ούτε γράμματα, ούτε τίποτα, ούτε ορθογραφία, το ονόμασαν μακεδονική γλώσσα.
За мене, що значить да бидиш македонец, е едно големо патриотско дело. Али македонците во Австралија постојано доаѓаат под напад, особено од грчката влада. Пример за тоа е, да речеме, овој Институтов за македонски студии, што ќе се отвора во Мелбурн. А тој институт е спонсиран, подкрепуван од грчката влада со цел да ствара неповерење во меѓуавстралискава јавност, да прави проблеми, да шири дезинформација меѓу народот. А се разбира, тука им е страф, не знам, одошо, поради австралиската политика е мултикултурна, зато се има во земјава место за секој еден човек. Мислам, поради тоа, затоа што младите генерации овде, било македонско, било грчко или било шо, растат заедно. И растат заедно во еден братски дух, каде едниот го почитува другиот за тоа што е, не за тоа што сака едниот да му настојува на другиот. Тоа, не знам, плаши нешто грчкана влада, затоа што овде македонците, речеме и грците и сите други националности живеат во еден дух на мултикултурата.
The term Macedonian is aggressive to us because it's a Greek term. So if they are prepared to acknowledge that they're Slav Macedonians and the language is Slav Macedonian language or Dardanian language or South Serbian language, we are prepared not only to defend it but to promote it in this country. And we are full-heartedly all the way in promoting every language in this country. But to call a language Macedonian, where we are Macedonians as well, is quite aggressive.
The Macedonian language is taught at primary, secondary and university level in Australia. And also Macedonian language, it's recognized everywhere in the world, except in Greece and Bulgaria.
One of the main contributions anthropology can make to the study of ethnicity is to help people appreciate that ethnic identity is something that is constructed or defined by each group, and so it's not a question of people belonging permanently to one group, but rather people being able to identify themselves as they choose and often differently at different times.
Κυβέρνηση και η παρούσα και όλες οι ελληνικές κυβερνήσεις δεν αναγνωρίζουν και έχουν κάθε υποχρέωση να το κάνουν έτσι, δεν αναγνωρίζουν τον ισχυρισμό των Σκοπίων ότι υπάρχει μειονότητα δική τους στην Ελληνική Μακεδονία. Η Ελληνική Μακεδονία μετά την απελευθέρωσή της, μετά την ανταλλαγή των πληθυσμών, μετά από όσα έχουν συμβεί στην ιστορία ως το 1940, έχει μια εκπληκτική ομοιογένεια πληθυσμού για περιοχή η οποία είναι μεθοριακή. Δεν υπάρχει λοιπόν καμία ξένη μειονότητα άλλη στην Ελλάδα από την μουσουλμανική μειονότητα την οποία έχουμε στην Δυτική Θράκη.
But we would like Greece not so much to give up its territory, but to give human rights to our people in Greece. And that's why I think we'd like to appeal to the progressive Greeks here to actually put pressure on their government and to influence them with some of the multicultural ideas we have in this country.
For our people, the Macedonians, and the day will come when we will enter Solon with guns. Remember
Είναι γεγονός ότι στο πρόσφατο παρελθόν, όταν ο Πρωθυπουργός της Ελλάδος, ο κ. Παπανδρέου, πήγε στο Βελιγράδι, οι Σκοπιανοί εκυκλοφόρησαν μια εορταστική κάρτα. Στη μια πλευρά της αυτή η κάρτα η εορταστική είχε το άγαλμα της ελευθερίας των Ηνωμένων Πολιτών της Αμερικής. Στην άλλη πλευρά είχε τη Μακεδονία, δηλαδή, που περιλάμβανε την Νότια Σερβία, την Νοτιοδυτική Βουλγαρία και όλη τη Βόρεια Ελλάδα μέχρι Χαλκιδικής και μέχρι τον Αλιάκμονα, με πρωτεύουσα τη Θεσσαλονίκη. Αυτή κατά τους Σκοπιανούς είναι η Μακεδονία του Αιγαίου.
I'm more concerned about certain circles in the Greek scene who are continuing with this type of propaganda. We regard it as chauvinistic, and it smacks of the kind of thing that was done to us and is still being done to the Macedonians in Greece.
Εγώ είμαι από την Καβάδα. Τελείωσα το Πανεπιστήμιο Θεσσαλονίκης. Έκανα υπουργός του Καραμαλή χρόνια και πρώτης τέτοιας. Και πήγα το 1974 στη Θεσσαλονίκη. Το 1974 ως υπουργός και έκανα 7 χρόνια στη Μακεδονία. Το 1974 δεν ήξερα ότι υπάρχει θέμα, διότι είναι αδιανόητο στους Έλληνες να φανταστούν ότι κάποιος θα πει ότι οι Μακεδόνες δεν είναι Έλληνες. Και βέβαια ακόμα περισσότερο ότι υπάρχουν μορφωμένοι άνθρωποι ιστορικά καταρτισμένοι του δημοτικού σχολείου που μπορούν να δεχτούν αυτές τις θεωρίες. Δηλαδή ο Αριστοτέλης ήταν Σλαβομακεδόνας.
Αυτό που αποτελεί σήμερα τον ισχυρισμό των Σκοπίων περί δίθεν μακεδονικής εθνότητας και μακεδονικής γλώσσας είναι προϊόν πολιτικής σκοπιμότητας, δεν έχει καμία απολύτως σχέση ούτε με την ιστορία, ούτε με την εθνολογία, ούτε με την επιστήμη. Επί 3.000 χρόνια οι Μακεδόνες είναι και θεωρούνται Έλληνες και η πολιτική σκοπιμότητα κατασκεύασε αυτό το κρατήδιο, το οποίο σήμερα το ονομάζει Μακεδονία, διότι προφανώς εξυπηρετεί κάποιους συγκεκριμένους πολιτικούς σκοπούς. Αύριο όταν δεν θα εξυπηρετεί μπορεί να ονομάζεται αλλιώς.
Το 1969 έκαναν την εκκλησία των Σκοπίων αυτοκέφαλο εκκλησία για να αποκτήσει εκκλησία και βέβαια αυτή η εκκλησία δεν αναγνωρίζεται από κανένα πατριαρχείο Ορθόδοξο ούτε από το Βατικανό. Είναι ξεκαθαρισμένο.
Господи помилуй, Господи помилуй, Господи помилуй.
Македонија е моја родна татковина. Македонски народ е мој народ од кој што произлегувам. Македонија се наоѓа, како што знаете, во еден балкански дел во Европа. Тој македонец има своја култура, свој јазик, своје обележја, каде што ги манифестира како и останатите други народи што сочинуваат еден посебен народ со словенска култура, словенски јазик. Има своја држава во рамките на Социјалистичка република Македонија во Федерација на Југославија. Тој народ е признат во меѓународните законски обврски што постојат во светот, признат од страна на Обединетите народи и останати законски прописи, и се разбира, иако е негиран, оспоруван на тој Балкан, каде што, за жал, и во 20. век се обидуваат поедини соседни народи и држави да го избришат постоењето на тој народ, на таа култура, како што знаете и што го спомнавте овој конгрес тука.
The role of the Institute is purely academic. We are not going to counterattack or we're not going to promote any issue which may create more problems between at least the Greek Macedonians and the rest of the Greek community, because the Greek Macedonians are more interested about the cultural issues, about research activities, and about academic procedures. So we are not going to be involved in any political issue. If the Slav community, if the Slav Macedonian community wants to interpret our aims and our intentions otherwise, then they won't find somebody who will counter-attack them. We'll continue to keep low profile. We are going to enclave our institute in its own activities, and we're not going to give in any threats, of course, or any sort of intimidation.
There are Macedonians and there are Greeks, and they're two separate groups. You don't say someone is a Slav Pole or a Slav Russian. It's assumed that our culture and language are Slavonic. I mean, our language is one of the many languages that belong to the Slavonic family. No one denies that. Just as we don't deny that there are Greeks in Macedonia. I mean, it's just that Greek Macedonian brings in misleading associations.
I was born in Greece, as a matter of fact, and I was 10 years old when I came out here. I understand the feeling of the protests, but all I can say is that I'm a very proud Macedonian, and I can assure you from the bottom of my heart, as much as it hurts me to say, there is no Macedonian country. However, there are millions and millions of Macedonians the world over, here, America, in the Baltic countries, everywhere. And what I'd like to ask is simply that the Greeks trying to suppress the people of Macedonia or Macedonians in practicing their culture really disappoints me, because the Australian government has allowed all ethnic groups to practice their own cultures without interfering with everybody else. So I have a small plea to the Greeks: why not leave the Macedonian people alone to get on with their life, and you continue with yours, and then we can all live happily ever after.
I understand from what I read in the papers that there is a political question which is very much in the minds of certain people in Melbourne, and maybe wider than Melbourne. And it seems that that cannot be separated totally. However, I do hope that whatever is discussed in the Congress papers and in the Congress seminars will, in fact, be attempting to arrive solely at objective, truthful knowledge, given the evidence and the state of the evidence that we have. But that might be being hopeful. A lot of academics are very hopeful and accused of somewhat pipe dreams. That is my wish. I doubt very much whether the two things will be able to be kept totally separate.
All I can add to all this is that our diverse Australian society still has less frictions and conflicts than most of the world. It's because of our multicultural policy that everyone can be whatever he or she wants to be in Australia. That's why we have peace and harmony. Let's keep it that way.
One last look at our gas and fuel entry.
This entry, of course, Daryl, goes to many other festivals throughout Victoria. It's not just